So we're thrilled tonight to welcome Kate Bowler to Dominican University of California. She's been here for this is her first time, and we feel excitement for her latest book called Joyful Anyway. So the leadership lecture series in the Institute for Leadership Studies, we care about advancing the study, the teaching, and the practice of effective and ethical leadership. In fact, to use the word leadership without ethical in it, no. And now, for tonight's guest. But first, a special treat from Kate to get us started. Let's watch.
I'm on a mission to help people be joyful. Anyway, I know it doesn't always look like it. I have been accused of being a massive bummer. I'm not sure why. I'm Kate Bowler. I'm a historian, writer, professor, and podcast host. I've taught at Duke University for the last 20 years. Life in the fast lane of academia never ends. I'm an expert in taking apart the cultural stories that everyone loves.
You give people stories they love?
No, I take them away. Sorry. Over the years, I've taken away, removed, destroyed, ruined many cultural stories we love to tell. I wanted to say something different. I hope that in sharing with you what I've learned over decades of studying meaning-making, mortality, and just the absurdity of it all, you will feel more empowered as a truth teller. When I was 18, I became obsessed with studying megachurch pastors and televangelists. And I started to ask myself, when did people start to believe that only good things happen to good people? What happens when life falls apart? And if God is handing out cold, hard cash, why did God skip Canada? So I built up all these skills. Skills like identifying which book blames you for your own illness, predicting which friend is most likely to fall victim to a multi-level marketing scheme, discerning which wellness program is actually a prosperity gospel, but this time with bracelets. I'm going to share with you the behind-the-scenes work of telling people what they really, really, really don't want to hear and are not sure why they paid for it. I founded a research and storytelling center called Everything Happens. Not everything happens for a reason, just everything happens, period. I have a podcast that makes people cry in their car. This community is, like me, on a journey of truth-telling and joy-finding.
But there have been very difficult chapters of your life, too.
Yeah, I mean, I spent about 5 years with a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. But now I'm cancer-free. I don't know. But I have weird side effects. There's a heating pad. I'm like a cheerful old man. This is my motto. Life is so beautiful, and life is so hard. I'm so glad you're here. Laugh, cry, quietly spiral. I'm Kate Bowler, and everything happened.
I'm so happy. This is so nice. You guys. Thanks, friends. I'm so excited you came. Oh, it's so good. I love the fact that this room is full of friends and nice people who are horrified that the Pope has to pope so hard lately. Yeah, just like, give that man a break. Come on. It's just, I don't know. It does feel funny to be like, welcome, everyone. We're just going to be delusionally joyful this evening. It's, I do think we're probably all just trying to do our best to make each other happy. I know that when I was really sick, it was just kind of the little things that ended up making a difference, like a catastrophic illness, and all of a sudden my parents are getting me nicer nut mix. We're Canadian and Mennonite, so we are lethally cheap, and so it's just a bit of like a peanuts and raisins kind of family. And every time you get like a moving vehicle, they're just like putting it in a small baggie, and like there you go. And Yeah, just devastation, and I'm getting cashews. I'm just Brazil nuts, macadamia nuts. I was just like a woman about town, so that was really nice. And the other thing I honestly noticed right away is that my brother-in-law stopped making me watch his bear hunting videos. He's actually like a really amazing bear hunter. He like crawls through the woods and murders the Lord's most beloved creatures with like a bow and arrow. But I think when they die, just as an aside, they make this horrific sound that they call like a death moan. And it sounds sort of just like, I just wanted to live. But looking at me, I was like a gray color because I was immunocompromised. And my family was like, I don't think we have to do this to her anymore. But not long ago, I was in my family house just kind of outside in the garage looking at all the bear hunting stuff, and I was getting a drink from the outside fridge and just kind of noodling around, and I noticed these really big blue barrels. So I took a look inside. Do you know what bears like to eat? Would that be amazing? And they're all just Paddington. It's adorable. They're just waiting for Nicole Kidman to find them a home. Mostly they love peanuts and raisins. And they loved the cashews and the Brazil nuts. I know I did. They sure love the macadamia nuts. Like, why go to the store to buy a gift for your immunocompromised sister-in-law when you have access to thousands of pounds of expired bear bait with a very clear sign that reads, "Not fit for human consumption," right there in your very own garage. So I just like ran in to accuse everyone of trying to murder me, and they laughed and laughed. I don't know, I think we are all just looking for joy that is trying not to murder us. I mean, like what is that saying? What doesn't kill us just makes us like an easier target for our family later. I don't know. All I know is today we could use a little bit of joy that cherishes us, joy, again, that is not deeply homicidal. And there is not one single person that makes me more joyful than Anne Lamott. She is the best! Oh my gosh. We know her. She is the voice of a generation. She really is. We loved her for Bird by Bird and Traveling Mercies. She is kind and funny, and she is the very first person to curse your enemies if something bad happens to you. And when I just remember, every time I'm feeling low, she looks into my face and grabs it, and she's like, "You are loved and chosen." And I think that feeling is the kind of feeling that could carry us forward even in these headlines. And I am so excited that we can put our hands together for the one, the only, the Anne Lamott. Cheers to you!
So when did we first fall in love?
I think it was question 2 of when you came on my podcast, and then you asked me if I normally cry so much.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know, but I think this is what it feels like.
You cried the whole time.
Well, you told me I was loved and chosen, and that was enough.
I know. So you were 35 when you were diagnosed with 4th stage colon cancer, which is not ideal. And then you had a little one, a toddler at the time. So I'm not sure you thought this through. But at any rate, now you have written a book about joy, not about happiness, but about joy. And I wonder what you even mean by joy. Did you explain that while I was backstage? Because I couldn't hear.
Yeah, I did a brief dance and a reenactment of my anti-happiness proposition.
Okay, good.
I guess, I did think that happiness and joy were the same thing.
Right.
Because happiness looks a lot like
It looks a lot like being a winner.
Yeah.
It looks a lot like Christmas cards where all of your children have worn matching denim and you've put them on the same couch in a field, apparently.
Yeah.
But it turns out they're very distinct psychologically. Happiness is a sense of ease. It will feel relaxing. It will feel like you're with someone that you adore and you've had the accumulated feeling that things are going your way. And it will feel like you kind of climbed a ladder of good feelings. And then there you are. Mm-hmm. But joy is not like that at all. It doesn't feel relaxing. It feels big and bright and enlivening. It makes you feel awake. Mm-hmm. But it's not just a nice feeling, because it turns out that you can't be happy and sad at the same time, but you can be joyful and sad, which is a very neat trick. And it turns out it's because it not only engages our reward system, but also our stress system, meaning it feels like you can almost like widen your aperture and see everything for a moment, and it will just feel like, yes, it is so good to be alive.
Mm-hmm. Mm. You were on the Today Show last week, I think, when your book came out 2 weeks ago, with Savannah Guthrie, and I thought, wow, that was, first of all, it was a beautiful experience too, and I could see that she trusted you in a way that I don't think she can probably trust very many people right now, to be as real and as open and as unentertaining, because she knows. I mean, you're always entertaining, but I could tell she just trusted you and she could relax with you. But how did you approach that event where the grief of the entire world entered her life, and she'll never get over it?
Yeah.
How did you approach being on the show with her?
I guess because of what people have said to me in my worst moments, when your life is taken apart and then everybody else seems to know why. Mm-hmm. And I know that in our befores and afters, we remember what it was like to feel lucky. And happiness is what lucky feels like. Mm-hmm. So when you're the unlucky, you usually feel like you're an alien that's just drifted away. And I just know that I think we should be really careful about what we can promise each other in the worst moments. Mm-hmm. And what is so beautiful about someone like Savannah is we speak the same language. Mm-hmm. We both agree that, frankly, and particularly as Christians, that there's very little nice things that have to happen to you because you're Christian. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jesus dies very badly. I don't know if that's
very badly.
It's not a religion for winners, and so I just know that I think we feel it's this. I think my friend Margaret used to call the fellowship of the afflicted, and it's this kind of beautiful, deep kinship you get when you know that every word is precious. And in this case, we were like tenderly holding the word joy, and trying to decide if sorrow will be the loudest voice, if despair will shout down every other voice. And I think it's really a rare and beautiful thing to be able to be around someone like that and say, this too will survive.
But yeah, you couldn't go out there and look at each other and say, this just completely sucks. Although it does, right? What happened to that family completely on every level of existence sucks. And yet what you agreed to do was to go out there with her and just be two people who have had incredibly painful experiences, who really both are basically optimistic. I mean, you in a kind of cranky way. I'd say you're a cranky optimist.
In a lightly pissy way.
Yeah. And you just agreed to spend some time together, and I thought it was really beautiful. That, I mean, obviously you can't try. There's no fixing.
No.
And there's no sort of horsing it into a corral where there's a bumper sticker that goes with it, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of just amorphous grief, but your book makes the case that it can be side by side, that joy, not happiness, can be side by side with sorrow.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really amazing that
Yeah.
that she. I thought it was. I mean, it was great for you to agree to be on, but I thought it was courageous for her to agree to have you on, because it wasn't going to be something that was sort of informational or plugging anything, or that it was just going to be that you are a person whose life is really hard, and a lot of us play injured, and she's at her most injured right now, and you've been there, and you're not going to say, oh, it just, the Old Testament says joy comes in the morning. It doesn't say happiness comes in the morning, right? It says it still sucks, but that you can find the joy in it's very confusing. And your book is so strong on this, that it is such a mixed grill life we were born into, but the happiness, when you were describing it, it's really what every single ad says. If you do this, or stop doing that, or lease that, or find that, then you're just going to have this feeling of kind of caffeinated contentment all the time. And that's what I wish your book were about, to be honest. But,
I totally. It'd be like 5 steps to caffeinated contentment. I totally agree. And I think all my publisher really would have preferred that book, and it would have been good. It just, unfortunately, we already have a $12 billion a year health and wellness industry that can do that work very efficiently for women.
Is that what it is, $12 billion now?
It's $12 billion a year, and they just look lovingly into the eyes of every woman who's just trying to find a comfortable jumpsuit on Instagram. And it says, you too can breathe differently and be hydrated at the scale of an adult female rhinoceros, or you will surely die, despite having never died before. It will give us endless homework about how to, and the problem is I will just say, as someone who is very interested in these existential mysteries, the problem with happiness is there are very useful, in a small measured way, thin statistical associations between the promises they're making and studies. Studies, let's just do studies a lot as we dress up what social science is offering us in terms of, for instance, gratitude. Everyone's Target's giving me another gratitude journal. And the problem is that if you actually look at that study, if you are too grateful, and I really mean if you start every night filling out your gratitude journal, sometime around item number 20, it has a deteriorating value.
Right.
Because what you've done is taken a beautiful virtue to cultivate, this awakeness to the things that have already been, these breadcrumbs we get in our lives, and we have turned ourselves back into a project. We were once a mystery, and now we're a project called the self. And now a day isn't a day and a sunset, it's 24 hours. And can you conquer this project called the self? And if you won't do it, then AI is going to do it for you. So I think we get really worried that we're not doing life right because there's such an aggressive industry that is turning that little flywheel. And in our heart, we flutter and we wonder, why can't I just land? Because there's always more homework.
So you write a lot in this book about the ache, that persistent sense of longing and incompleteness that comes with being human. And horribly, you write that joy is not a cure for the ache, but it is something that coexists. But tell us about the ache and how you came to be able to even write about it, because it's kind of beyond words too. It's oceanic. Yeah, and the loss of a person is something you never get over. The world tells you should. There's the grid, 3 months, 2 months for a cousin, not 3 months. I think 2 months for a cousin, 6 months for a sibling, 18 months for a spouse. And it doesn't work that way.
No.
It's like you never ever get over certain losses. And you're not supposed to. But the culture and the ads and the books told us that you would, and we were supposed to, and that it gets to be kind of a buzzkill for everybody else if you don't. If you don't agree. But anyway, talk to us about the ache.
Well, I think you're exactly right. I mean, to talk about our pain and our love and our grief all in the same breath. Like, I mean, what love really does is it just carves a basement out from underneath us. We're like, oh, I didn't know I could lose you. Because all of our most beautiful things create in us, it's almost like we want to breathe in oxygen, but we feel like this burning in the lining of our lungs. And that feeling, like everything difficult and everything beautiful, creates in us this ache. And I didn't really have enough language for it, so honestly, what's very nice about being a professor at a divinity school is you can sort of wander the hallways nursing personal problems disguised as theological quandaries. And I think I had one of my colleagues who realized it was like we'd gone too far when I was like in his office being like, what do you think Augustine would think about my self-esteem? And he's like, not sure that question is for me. But I really wanted to, like, what is this bittersweet longing inside of us that feels like there's always this missing piece? So I called this wonderful professor, priest friend named Father Ron Rollheiser, and he was like, oh, Kate, this ache, there's all kinds of psychological and historical and theological language for it, and I love the one term from the German playwright Friedrich Schiller, who calls it Sehnsucht, like this longing for a thing we might never have had or had and is now gone. And he's like, look, Kate, it's either there's something wrong with you specifically, which I'm not saying there isn't, but we are born crying, there's a lot in the middle, there's a whole lot at the end. And this longing feeling, this incompleteness, you can either decide it's a glitch in the system, or you can decide that this too is in fact holy, that it's kind of an engine inside of us, and you can point it toward the things that will feel like endless homework and will eat you alive. Or you can decide that it is also pointing you toward something that could be beautiful and changing and hungry, but it will still always feel like a kind of aliveness, but it will unfortunately, it will be a permanent condition.
Don't you think it might be a kind of homesickness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, no, I don't.
Okay.
I don't at all. I think when I was researching joy, I was kind of always annoyed at every time a famous theologian, like C.S. Lewis, like I liked the definition. He said, joy is a stab of longing. Like, you know you're joyful if you feel like you've been stabbed. And I was like, oh, I love it. Like, we're like, oh, this is it. But then he was like, it is in his life story, he found his experience of joy, and he's like, I guess it's just pointing me to heaven. We good. And then that was it. And I was like, this is a terrible story. So I don't know. I think, to me, I just don't want versions that defer joy for later. I think it's the gift we get now that everybody gets. And that kind of transcendence is available without waiting.
The ache is so deep, and terrible things happen to the people we most love, and there's no fixing it. There's just listening, or just showing up. Before I turned on Woody Allen, him saying that 80% of life was just showing up. But, just the grief that your little kids experience at understanding how temporary it all is, and how, like, I remember when my son was about 5, he just started he said, do you think we'll die at the same time? Do you think we'll die at exactly the same time? And I said, well, I'm 35 years older, and so I'll probably die before you. And he just began to weep. And he said, if I had known that, I wouldn't have agreed to be born. And then I started to cry. Because to inflict that on somebody, that they're going to have to imagine life without you, And I make constant deals with God. But I only want one thing. I want to survive my son, I want my son and my grandson to survive me. I want to go first. And if I can get that, then I'm going to claim victory, right? But you get no promise, you don't get anything that says it's going to be all right. So we go on faith, we go on the amazing experience of being loved out of all sense of proportion. And by also, the wonderful Susan B. Anthony, so I think I mentioned this on the last podcast you and I did. She said, she's a psychiatrist, she said, in the darkest times we remember to remember, you know, and we remember having lost somebody that we literally could not live without.
Yes.
And that we came through, but it's like having a broken leg, you know, it heals, but it doesn't heal perfectly.
Yeah.
And you dance again, but with a limp.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that is joy. That's not the happiness.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought I wondered if you would tell us at this point the magic trick story. Or you can read it.
No,
Okay.
well,
read it, 'cause I think-
No. I'm
Okay.
I'm already so angry at this man. I can tell it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just kept being the same. I just kept finding myself back in the same situation over and over again. I wanted to be someone who had like a reality television show addiction, or like just only be mad at my son's 300th school email, for example, which it's always like Crazy Sock Tuesday. And if my son fails to express himself in socks, then I am a terrible mother. And I wanted to be that person. And instead, I was just like always back in some ridiculous dramatic situation. And I was waiting to go home after a surgery that had been very complicated and just a lot of very difficult decisions. And, you know, for a while they thought I would die on the table. And then there was, when I was finally through it, I was thrilled to be in the going home room where nothing bad happens. There's a plant, there's a television. You have a going home bag, you get to look out the window for your father-in-law Ken with a lot of like golden retriever energy. And so I was waiting to go home, and the doctor that I honestly hated the most came in, and he was like, knock, knock, I'm here to, hi, Kate, I'm here to remove a surgical drain in your stomach. I was like, well, that's weird because I don't have a surgical drain in my stomach. I just have these bandages, which are flat.
Right.
And there's nothing underneath them, and thank you so much. I'd like to go home now, please. And he was like, no, really, I have to take a drain out. And I don't know what my plan was, like go home and do it myself, but my plan was just no. My plan was no. And so I was just like fully glaring at him, and he's glaring at me, but his hands were up like this, I guess because they were clean, or because his horrible lobster hands, to just get in under there. But for some reason, it reminded me of, I've had all kinds of brothers-in-law for some reason. And one of them was this huge wrestler guy who always wore these stringy tank tops and yet somehow found places to remove scarves at all times, but was very into up-close magic and was forever taking coins out from behind my ears. And for some reason, his hands up like this just reminded me of my brother-in-law and this. And I just realized I was going to have to find a different thing inside of me than no. So I was like, okay, fine, but you have to do it as a magic trick. So he's just like dead eyes me, and then just spun around, left, and then I heard him go, knock, knock, and he spun and he was like, knock, knock, I'm here to remove a surgical drain and I will do it as a magic trick. And I was like, all right, if you must. So I like arranged myself and, all kinds of and he was like, look, and I love it when medical professionals give you a very specific description because it really helps you manage your expectations. And he was like, you're going to feel a deep pinch and a hard pull. Oh. So I had to hold on to the side, and I felt a deep pinch. And then it felt like an anchor being wrested from the seafloor. And then when I opened my eyes, and the hard pull, eyes open, and then this man just looks like he is holding 200 million feet of tubing. And he has this enormous bright red spray of what is obviously my blood because he did something wrong all over his face. And then he just looked at me and I looked at him in total horror. And then he just goes, ta-da. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's what this is. There is this weird no that can become a yes. And that weird helium crazy feeling of joy carried me for like weeks. And now it comes to my lectures.
Yeah.
I'll like look out and I'll be like, hey man, it's good to see you again. All of me.
I love that. What's it like living in the South surrounded by MAGA?
Yeah, it's going great. It's going great. I love that. Oh, it's so, well, because it's so funny, because that was my specialty forever and ever, was studying the religious right and televangelists. So
I remember.
it's a lot of just me looking at the prayer breakfasts with a great deal of sadness and familiarity. And being like, I've interviewed you on your jet before. Yeah, I think what is surreal, I honestly think what's happened is we have these like dials of stories that have happened, and in American Christianity, this civil religion, this desperate feeling that God has magically chosen America for special purposes in a way he did not choose Canada, apparently, has become this sort of shrill sound that contributes to this overarching sense that there's this sort of fraught, lightly apocalyptic tenor. And yet I think on top of this apocalyptic tenor, we have very superficially inserted a very thin form of this kind of frenetic self-help optimism, in which our sort of individual coping strategies, we hum. It's because we feel this deep angst and fear. And yet these horrors are so unevenly dispersed. Like, much of sub-Saharan Africa can go without an entirely viable HIV/AIDS medication, but I can somehow get free same-day shipping on my acne patches. Like, these horrors are utterly unevenly dispersed, and yet the stories we're telling are not in any way able to support the whole.
That's right. So with these people here tonight, this is the Bay Area.
The Bay Area.
Okay.
I keep hearing that
So-
someone's like, I'd like to come see you. And I'm like, will it be 2 hours or 15 in the Bay Area?
Yeah, in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And there's probably a fairly small proportion of MAGA people here tonight.
Oh, we're still on this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We're still doing it. Yeah.
So what is the prescription for finding joy in the current climate of madness and brutality?
Well, I will say, I think
stupidity.
Well, you're like, to be very specific.
To be very specific. What's the prescription?
I mean, I think one thing that makes me feel very sad is like, I mean, in this utterly triumphalist religious climate of attempting to create a category of religious winners. I mean, there is a joylessness to it. In that deep and vengeful unkindness that we just hear in our politics, like, there is a joylessness. And I think what would be a gift to everyone, in every family and in every heart, is to know that this sense that we can be like vessels for joy, and joy is like not just like a positive emotion, it's a story. It's a story about whether it is still good to be. It's just lovely philosophy 101. Is it good for you?
It's the story of how good it is just to be.
To be.
Like,
Is
can I
it
have
so
that?
good
Yeah.
that you were made, that we live? And I think these gifts that we get where we feel this great yes, and the fact that we can feel it in any moment, especially when we feel that kind of light apocalypse feeling, to know that joy isn't for someone else or for some other time. It is, I think in all versions, it is the gift we are given to be eyes wide open, to feel the enormous beauty and like dignity of our own lives and others. And I think that kind of joy, like, you can't help but fall in love with the world again when you feel it. And so I think we should just be like particularly tuned in to where we see a smile on people's faces and no joy.
Because it will look more, I think, like a kind of cultural dominance than it will like this life-giving, life-carrying source of transcendence.
Yeah. So,
Feelings. If this is another question about Mega Annie, I'm
No,
going to
it's
kill
not.
you.
No, it's not. I've moved on. Okay.
I've moved
So,
on.
that old thing. Okay. So you write that resentment and sadness
Yeah.
are barriers to joy,
Yeah.
but you also say that sadness and joy can be experienced in the same time. But how do we overcome that really toxic self-consciousness is a barrier to joy, because that focus on yourself and watching the movie of yourself like 24/7. But I would say that more than the resentments and are the barriers. So I know it's in the book, but how do we overcome those barriers to joy?
Well, I think that before we can be somebody who screams, choose joy in that voice, which is much of Instagram, I think that we need this radical sense of what really is. And frankly, I'm just guessing by the time we are the age we are, enough things have happened that we would do anything to undo, or we just wish had gone another way. And I just noticed that my best friend and I were starting to say things like, must be nice, about other people who were having life-changing revelations on beaches, and or like having a locked and loaded story, like you're like, how's your brother? And you're like, well, I'll tell you. And I think the calcification around this pain, like pain has an accidental narcissism, right? Because it feels permanent, it feels unchangeable, and it feels like it only happens to us. And so my best friend and I started making this thing we called The List, which was our list of moments that had changed us, scarred us, we would do anything to take back. And we just found that by writing the list, which at first we just started as a joke, and then it became a real list, and then it was like, it wasn't someone in general, it was Linda, name names. Like the specificity of it turns out, we just noticed that it was starting to pile up. And I didn't know how much I needed to get a little more oxygen in all of that pain and resentment in order to kind of clear any path before I could even make room for joy. And the thing I'm going to tell you is not like a normal story. I just feel like I should warn you, or else you're going to...
Okay.
In my defense, I was walking on mowed grass. It was not, I was on a walk, and before you're like, I was on a sidewalk, and then there was an old man with a dog, and then I moved off the sidewalk because I'm an amazing person. And I felt this little pinch on my ankle, and I thought it was either like a mosquito or one of those utterly demonic southern ants that have no place in the Lord's kingdom. And I was talking to my best friend about our resentments, and I was like, really into it. And then I noticed I wasn't walking, I was hopping, and I was like, that's not normal. So I hopped my way home, and I took out my magnifying mirror, and I realized that it wasn't a bite, it was actually 2 puncture wounds. Because it was
snake bite.
It was and my Southern education is already like, all right, well, it's going to be a copperhead or a cotton mouth, and either way,
ideal.
I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I mean, I think my first instinct was like, let's not, and play it cool. So I drove myself to the walk-in doctor and like sauntered up to the counter and had like a casual conversation. And then she looked down at the paperwork, and it was just like poisonous snake bite, and just like the wall of screaming. They're like, get out, get out, get out, and like, we'll call the ambulance. And so on my way to the hospital, I thought through my options, because I realized like, this is just going to be me doing the same thing again. I'm going to go back into another tragic situation, and I don't need any more content. So I was, the only advantage though, I will say, to being poisoned is you get to scream
I've been poisoned the whole time. So I've been poisoned. You get to scream while going through the metal detector. If anyone hands you a small but very reasonable amount of paperwork, you're like, I've been poisoned. And then they take you to the back and they give you science's best, which is they just circle it with a Sharpie. And then they call Dave, the snake bite guy.
Dave.
And Dave is like, buzz, 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 anti-venom, buzz, buzz, $100,000, buzz, buzz, multiple doses. And I was like, at this point, I was so angry because that had been the exact same ER where I had been sent home with Pepto-Bismol with what was a stage 4 cancer. I had been given a very long speech about how it must be that I was a young woman with a stressful job, and that must account for all the pain and anxiety. And like some of the same people, the same like taste of saline, the same beeps, and I was so angry. And then by the time it was buzz, buzz, you'll keep the leg, then I was just like, sir.
Yeah.
And then it just like occurred to me. I was like, how long is this going to take? And he's like, well, you might have to be here for like 24, 36 hours. And they don't move you out of the ER. You have to live there the whole time. Yeah. And I was like, wait, does someone have to stay with me the whole time? And he was like, yeah, I mean, someone. And I was like, great. Because I have some reflections I'd like to share about my experience in the medical system. And then I just monologued like around hour 4. I started in the year of our Lord 2018, and then I like 4 years later I had like charts drawn up, and I was like, you'll see here. It was just like full TED talk. I was like, that you. So when I woke up again, because I passed out mid-speech, they put me in like a dark corner, which I thought was a little bit thoughtful, and there was this sweet little nurse, and she was just buzzing around, and I woke up and I was actually in the middle of something, and she was like, I did hear about the monologuing. And I was like, look, I'm not trying to be a crazy person, but like the truth is I'm so angry. Like, I don't want to be here. I hate all of this. Like, all it did was remind me of the very first moments. I mean, honestly, my biggest fear the whole time was, because in the very first months of being sick, everyone I loved had to go to the bank and evaluate their home to figure out how much it was worth. Because the great fear was medical bankruptcy, and like this whole time that has been like my greatest fear. And so to be back again with like ridiculous bills and blah, blah, I was just like, look, I'm not trying to be insane, but like, I just don't know how to do this and not be so angry anymore. And she was like, look, I can see you're a bit of a frequent flyer here. And she's like, I wouldn't tell this to a patient. But this is also like, I also know what it's like to only end up here too. And she's like, to be honest, I lost my husband a month ago. I've got 2 little kids at home. I just don't know how to not do this. Like, and I was like, this is also kind of the only place I know how to be. Like, I know how to be in the place where the bad things happens. And I said, I just don't know how to get over this if it's going to keep happening. And she like sat down beside me, and she like wheeled her little stool over, and she took my hand, and she was like, look, nobody's going to apologize. And hospitals are never going to say they're sorry. But if you could hear it from me, I just want you to know that I'm so sorry that this happened to you. And I'm so sorry that it happened here where we should have been taking care of you. And just us staring at each other, like tears streaming down both of our faces, I felt how much the weight of all that anger and bitterness could suddenly melt away with this grace, with just feeling like the mercy of somebody loving you and seeing this pain dissolve into something else. And even though I did park myself in a self-park as I walked myself in, they let you walk home and find your car after you've been envenomated. And I called my parents, and I was like, this was a surprisingly positive experience. I was like, I'm not going to lie to you. I think I'm ready for something different. And I think what I was ready for was joy.
But what about the $100,000?
Exactly.
Did you have to pay it?
It ended up being 300 some, and I only had to, and I had actually ended up, I had just recently gotten better insurance. And so, yeah, I had a reasonable copay. Yeah.
I would hope.
Yeah. I also just, one of the weirder facts is my office is basically attached to my Duke hospital. Like my Duke office is basically attached to the hospital. So that has always been the surreal thing about being like, are you really going to murder me here? You know? But at some point, yeah, Duke kicks in.
And then how many treatments was it?
It was 36 hours. But to be totally honest, what I did during that time, I was very high for a lot of the end of it because of the pain meds. And I think in my, like, I'm ready for joy thing, I, by the end of the 36 hours, had signed up for helping out at a shark lab facility with someone my parents once met. So, like, cut to 2 weeks later, I have gone paragliding. I am reeling lemon sharks out of the ocean and being like, good job. I signed up for a hilarious number of things as I was like, I'm going to renegotiate my relationship with fear. And then I had to renegotiate it again because it had gone too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And did you ever find out what kind of snake it was?
No, just that it was, quote, chock full of poison.
Let me read you something that you said somewhere. We need to accept reality in order to do the harder work of love, of courage. I've come to realize that for everybody, life takes so much more courage than we thought it would. In our very brittle happiness culture, we don't give people the credit they deserve for facing the lives that we have. I just want to allow us a minute for grief, for reality, for lament, for the ache is a reminder that every beautiful thing is here in a minute and may be gone in the next. The fleeting nature of our lives will always make us hunger, and our hunger can either then be manipulated and distorted to force us to buy enormous water bottles and comfortable jumpsuits on Instagram, or we can remind ourselves that the feeling that it's never enough isn't a glitch in the system, it's part of the engine. Now I know that it's part of the engine. Now that I know it's part of the engine, I can also use moments of joy to say, it's enough. The ache is that we're born and will die. Our hunger is what gives us this incredible capacity to love and to want and to try in a world that will demand more of us than we want to give. We just have to treat the ache like an arrow and to be able to have more frankness that our hunger won't always be satisfied. No matter who we are, we have to take care of who we have to take care of. No matter how stuck we might feel, we must expect true moments of fulfillment where we are. Joy is for us too, not just for the lucky people. And then you write about putting yourself in the way of joy.
I didn't realize I was so mad about jumpsuits for such a long time. I thought this was like a recent anger that I've been having. Turns out I've been stewing about it for years.
I know. Well, you might want to talk to somebody about that.
There's a darkness, an insatiable darkness inside of me.
And then I can read this, but I think you can probably answer it better. You write about putting yourself in the way of joy.
Yeah.
What are some small ways people can do that in everyday life? And you say you have to treat it like homework.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you say more about that?
Well, I mean, theologian Karl Barth said joy is a gift, right? Which makes sense because we can't earn it the way we can earn happiness. Joy is something that happens to us. Joy will always be a surprise, and you can't surprise yourself. So, surprise. So it will always be a gift, which sucks. But I think with every lovely thing, we also have to treat it like homework. That we want to be someone that it is more and more likely to happen to. So when Karl Barth says it's both a gift and a task, I think when we just meet people, we see we just meet joyful people. And it's because they have this like expanded capacity, I think, to find that yes inside of just a world of no. And there's lovely advice about how to be a more joyful person that's attributed to Immanuel Kant. And he says, look, if you want to be a more joyful person, find something to do, because there is a bizarre alchemy between joy and service. It should be that when you give, you have less, because that's math. But instead you have more, which doesn't make any sense. But that is the kind of like odd bubbles up from inside magic of service. So find something to do, find someone to love. I think the granularity of the way we love people, they will give us endless homework. And that can be a lifetime of like things that bubble up. And then he says, find something to do, find someone to love, find something to hope for. And I think that's because the voices which tell us that nothing will be good again, and everything good is probably going to go to somebody else. And you're actually not a lucky person. You're all those stories of like what can possibly shout down despair. It always reminds me of Princeton homiletian Thomas Long always says, there will always be two preachers at a funeral. The body, and then the story that must stand up and talk about the hope that goes on and on. And I love the idea that our joy is one of the only things that can shout down despair.
That's beautiful. So find something to do, find someone to love, and
Find something to hope for.
And find someone to hope for, yeah. Do you like to write? You do?
Yeah, it's actually one of the first things I ever did with my dad. My dad is actually the world's foremost expert on Christmas, which he actually started doing. He started making Christmas quizzes when he was so depressed he couldn't get out of bed. And my dad has all these ridiculous songs, like one for going across the street quickly, like it's like doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and one for turning on the light when you want to sleep, and then like annoying hand trumpets. But the one that like was just always my favorite, weirdly, he got from the Jerry Springer show. And my dad's name is Jerry, and he had such terrible depression. Like anyone who's been touched by diseases of despair know just how much courage it takes to watch someone try. And everything in our lives was just like painted in gray for years. And so just to hear him, he was always sleeping. And I was like sitting there doing my homework, and I could always tell when he was gonna try that day, because it was the beginning of a song. And at first it would go, go Jerry, go Jerry, go Jerry, go. Just like really quietly. Because he was just like, but then I knew he was really gonna go for it when he was like, Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. And when he did decide to try, he made these stupid quizzes for a church party he went to for Christmas, and everybody liked it and everybody laughed. And then he thought maybe he would try some more. And there was something in Christmas. There's something in the fact that it was so silly and it was so for nothing. It was so like in the darkness, but it's too much, and that too much is the right amount. That there's something about excess and moreness and feasting and trying and then giving that like taught him something about how maybe it was for him too. So when I think about writing, I always think about my dad, and I always think about how much work it took for him to carve out a place of joy inside of him.
Wow. Okay, here is the shameless plug, but I've cleared it with Kate. My son and daughter-in-law have a writing collective that Kate will be speaking at in the summer. It's called awritingroom.com, not the writing room. They are complete losers. They really are, and they're our mortal enemies. And but this is one word, lowercase, awritingroom.com, and we have summer school, and we have 3 really famous writers come in and talk about writing, how they get anything done, what you do when you're blocked, what you do when you are thinking, boy, talk about beating a dead horse, and all of the places every writer gets to. So if you want to hear Kate on writing specifically, just go to awritingroom.com and look up, I don't think it's listed yet, summer school, but at least get familiar with it. For anyone you know who's a writer, I have like 20 talks there of my own, and there's some really, have you done awritingroom.com? I forgot. No, you did Sam's Hello Human, so I think, right, a long time ago. Anyway, if you want to hear Kate on writing, just familiarize yourself with awritingroom.com, because we're going to have a really fantastic summer school with Kate. We are supposed to, we're supposed to close up pretty soon, but the introductions kind of cut into our time, so it's okay that we're going over. It's not our fault. The most important thing is that it's not our fault. And so I know that you don't do Q&A, but that you're going to do some sort of game show with me. And are we still going to do that?
I was kind of hoping we would talk about some faithy stuff for a second, if you...
Yeah, so I have 2 more faithy things.
Yeah, let's faith it up.
Okay. So talk to me about the Christian or religious aspects of joy.
Yeah.
The spiritual aspects of joy.
I'm like, do you have an answer for whether you think, do you have like a secret thought about Christianity and joy? I would love to hear it if you do.
You know, I'm a Sunday school teacher. You're a theologian at a fancy pants university.
So many pants.
So
that's what they always say about Anne Lamott. Not completely devastatingly insightful. That's what they say.
So, like what I teach my kids is that joy stands for Jesus, others, and then you.
Oh.
And you've touched on this, that the great paradox of joy is service. You know, if you want to get out of yourself, do something for others.
Yeah.
If you don't have hope, give hope to somebody. Mm-hmm. You know, you all know this probably, there's a fantastic food pantry on Bahia, which is over sort of behind where the old bowling alley is in San Rafael. You go to Safeway and you buy a huge sack of food, and you don't forget the Oreos, most important thing, and you take that over and you drop it off. And you give other people hope, because then you are in a tide pool that has hope in it because you brought it.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't try to chase people down trying to get them to give you hope. Like you don't chase people down. I mean, we do, trying to give you self-respect. It's an inside job, right? But the service is the outside job we do. And if I'm unusually uptight or feeling very, very clenched, I know the secret to having loving feelings, which is what theologically I would say heaven is having loving feelings and an open heart. We take the action of doing loving things. Yeah. And we wave to people, and we flirt with old people at Whole Foods, you know, even if at the express line, you know, even if they've brought coupons. You don't bring coupons to the express line, okay? But you are there and you tell them that you love their hat. Yeah. You ask them if you can pet their dog. Yeah. And you put love energy on them, and then you're filled with love energy, because it's a paradox. Yeah. So Jesus, others, and then you. Like I say to Jesus a lot, I say, you know, I think we both know what we have on our hands here. You know? And it's not always beautiful. It's very rarely a Hallmark card. It's a real mixed grill of generosity and self-centeredness and you know, and judginess, and a really expansive heart for other people. You know, that's what misery. Oh, never mind, because I kind of forgot where that was gonna. Oh, mercy. The word mercy comes from the root word of misery, which means a heart for other people's troubles. Yeah. You know, and to be a volunteer is to guarantee that you're going to have a lot of joy in your life. Yeah. Because you're going to get out of yourself and out of the pinball machine of your own, you know, crazy, self-centered, anxious brain, and be there for others, you know. Yeah. And the other thing Meister Eckhart, and I don't share this with my Sunday school kids, but he said if the soul could have known God without the world, God would have never created the world. And in the world, I mean, what your whole book is about, it's about the sorrow that comes with loving deeply.
Yeah, that's right.
And giving your heart away.
Yeah.
And the sorrow, the inevitable sorrow that one of you is going to die, and it'll be the end of the world. That over and over and over, the world is going to offer itself as the end of the world. But we as Christians would believe in birth, death, resurrection, new life, the spring, right, that we're in the middle of, that we're, that Jesus on the cross looks like a big win for the Romans, right? But from the most miserable death that can be imagined, springs life for people like you and me. Even for people like you and me with our tiny issues, our tiny, judgy, and cranky issues. So spiritually, that's pretty much what I know about joy, is that it's not about figuring anything out. And that figure it out is a really bad mantra, and how would you answer that same
That
question?
is a perfect answer.
Oh, how would you answer it?
I love that.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
so beautiful. Thank you. No, I guess just on I think I thought faith was supposed to be a better solution to the problem of either pain or blahness, just general blahness.
Yeah.
And I really, and then when I was doing this research, I was kind of bummed every time I was researching, like, there's a whole conference on joy, and then the answer is Jesus. And I was like, man, come on. Like,
whatever.
It doesn't go well, the whole New Testament. And I think neurologically that's very stressful for us. And it ends up sounding a lot like when people are like, joy is a paradox because it's a mystery. And then it sounds just like Instagram, where they're like, two things are true at the same time. And then they're like, but I won't resolve them. And I'll just put the words there and walk away. And I think what's so beautiful about being an actual paradox is a paradox is when two truths are so close together that space between them, that mystery that always breathes life into the truest things, kind of stands each other up. And in this case, what we learn about joy is that it is the most soul-filling, life-giving experience of transcendence that is for everyone. And if it's not there right now, just hold on, because it's around the corner, and it's for you. It's not just like one of my horrible Mennonite Christmases, where you get like a bag of tube socks, and it's like, and you get one, it's the same one, and everybody gets tube socks. Like, it is weirdly individually, because it will feel like gratitude, because it makes you say thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank
It will
you.
feel like hope, because it will shout down despair, and it will feel like delight, because it just makes you laugh, and it's so dumb, because we're so dumb. And my favorite things are world's largest objects, and I have visited many the only time I've been in this area, I realized I have been here before, is I went to visit some world's largest stuff, and a pair of bear legs, the world's largest dehydrated bear legs, and that is true, and that's how dumb joy is. It's delight, and it's not like when my mom heard that I wanted chicken pajamas, and then in her infinite wisdom she bought some for my sisters, and then we all took it out at the same time, and then my sister said the best thing that's ever been said about a gift. She said, "Oh, look what happened to me." So if you try to give your joy away to other people, just remember, it's not chicken pajamas. It's just for you. And if it can light up your life and give that gift of transcendence to remind you that just you as you are, it is so beautiful to be alive.
Yeah. Well, so much of this book also, and so much of the Christian tradition, is that it's not about self-help. It's not about the need to improve or to be or to do or to figure out or to own or to do anything else. It's to put down your weapons you know, and you have your sword, and we were raised to have our sword and to, you know, and you learn that you can point with the sword of truth. You don't need to stab with it, and you stop stabbing, and you surrender, you know, and you come over to the winning side, which is what joy is, which is that you remember, you surrender, and you remember this love, that you remember that we are surrounded and indwelled by this love energy, you know, and that it's everywhere and it's inside us, but we have to stop
Stabbing.
we have to stop stabbing. I know, and you know, my friends, my Diocesan priest friend Terry Ritchie said, the point is not to try harder.
Yeah.
It's to resist less.
That's good.
You know, and a lot of this book speaks to just surrendering and resisting less and paying better attention and looking around. And it's in the book that you look around for joy.
I think we've had enough of me, but would you mind if we did something ridiculous, which is, what better way than to say thank you to an incredible person than to create a horrible series of brief games to torture a friend? Will you join me in my joy game for Anne Lamott?
It's so silly. I didn't tell her what the questions were. She loved that so much.
This is just for you, Annie. This is, it's a true or false game. Your book, Bird by Bird, is treasured by writers for its amazing writing advice. So this is a little quiz about writing advice. I'm going to read writing advice from other famous authors, and you can decide, is this real? All right, are you ready? Is this famous advice real? Number 1, from Vern Glatch, contributor to the online quarterly Tales from Day Scare, quote, try dictating your story to a toddler. If they can't follow your plot, no one can. But more importantly, no one cares. True or false?
False.
No, you're correct. That's right. That's right. No, your toddler does care. Definitely. Number 2, Mary Oliver once wrote these instructions for living a life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it, but just stop being annoying about it on Instagram. True, basically true. Exactly right. Number 3, Douglas Adams once said of keeping deadlines, I love deadlines. I love the whooshing noise they make as they go by.
Yeah. True.
True, that's right. And number 4, Anne Lamott says of all good writing, it starts with what she calls shitty first drafts. But did she call second drafts the moment you begin revising your will?
Was that the last question? No?
On this.
False.
That's correct. You never said that.
I never
You
said
want
that.
everyone to keep on living.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. That's right.
Now, speaking of Mary Oliver, for just a second, one of the things I want to talk to you about at a writing room at the summer school is something you can't ask normal people, which is how to write about spiritual stuff without making people sick to their stomach, right? And I want you to talk about, we'll talk in dialogue, about how you write about spiritual, the deeply human spirit stuff of us without having people recoil as from a hot flame. And I think you are a great teacher of that.
Thanks,
It's partly because of the bad attitude.
Yeah. I
But
would
it's
say the
also
negativity.
The other great teacher is Mary Oliver.
Yeah. That's
Right. Okay.
That's right.
Back to your questions.
If you win this round, you know that I am both Canadian and Mennonite. If you win this round, you can become either an honorary Canadian, might not be the worst right now, or an honorary Mennonite, but you have to decide whether you can spot the difference between real Canadian headlines, real Canadian news items,
Okay.
and which are from the satirical news site about Mennonites called The Daily Bonnet.
Okay.
Are you ready? Which is real Canadian news and which is fake ones made up by people to amuse me. Number 1, which headlines are true? Number 1, sister hits moose on way to visit sister who hit moose.
Mennonite.
It is, in fact, a real Canadian headline. Yeah. We're very worried about moose safety, to be honest. Yeah. In Newfoundland, they've got billboards that just totals moose death every year. I was there, 33 moose deaths.
God,
Not the
moose
moose, the
death.
people. Yeah. All right, number 2. Police confused at murder scene between blood and spilled borscht.
Mennonite.
You got it. Mennonite. Ding, ding. Number 3. City of Winnipeg briefly bans singing on buses. Mennonites respond in 3-part uproar.
Canadian news.
It is correct. You got it. That's right. Yeah, one more wheels on the bus, you got a $100 fine. That's exactly right. All right, number 4. Mennonite town implements needle exchange program for knitting-addicted grandmas.
Canadian news.
It is Mennonite. It is Mennonite fake
it was
news.
Mennonite.
Yeah, that was really close. And number 5,
was really
evangelical. It's really
That's so
good.
sweet.
The evangelical couple announces they're just friends in Christ after 47 years of marriage.
Canadian news.
It is, in fact, they were never friends. Yeah, it's Mennonite. You got it. That's right. It's really close. You got 3 out of 8. Amazing. Now, enough about you. Let's focus on me and what brings me joy, which is world's largest things. Thank you so much. These questions about world's largest things, are you ready? Number 1, the world's largest gathering of snakes occurs at the Narcissus snake dens in Manitoba. Emerging from limestone winter dens, males surround females 100 to 1 to form writhing mating balls. The question is, what month is peak orgy season?
Neil, do you know? Neil might know.
I like that you ask your husband for peak orgy
My current
season.
husband knows all sorts of like weird shit. April.
Oh, very close, May. It's for Mother's Day, apparently. Exactly right. All right, I got one from California's largest gathering of South American parrots. It's actually really close to here, so this is a local question, in case you need to confer.
Where is it?
Something Hill, Signal Hill. Something Hill.
Telegraph Hill.
Stop it, I've never been here. Telegraph Hill. You got it. Thank you. Signal. I don't know what I was picturing, but it felt newsworthy. All right, which of the following is true then? 1, that all the parrots can sing the same song. 2, that they can all fly in single formation. Or that 3, they're all cared for by one man named Mark, who plays them guitar and reads them poems.
C.
It is C, yeah. Yes, but Mark just died last month, in case anyone is very interested in following up on that. Number 3, okay, not far from where I'm from, is the world's largest frying pan in Rose Hill, North Carolina. Okay. Every year, okay, so it weighs 2 tons, 15-foot diameter, and holds 200 gallons of cooking oil. Every year, the town gets together to cook what? Is it a giant omelet? Is it 365 chickens at once? Murmur. Or whatever fits in the world's largest air fryer.
It's got to be the omelet.
Omelet. It is, in fact, no, unfortunately, we are an RFK-approved diet state. It is the meat. It's 365 chickens.
But you tricked me.
It's so sad. Last final lightning round. When I first moved to the States, the very first billboard I ever saw said Bob's Discount Bible Emporium. And now all I see is like, have you ever been horribly injured in a car accident? Or like, would you like a guaranteed cash offer on your tractor trailer or tractor you just want to use as a tractor? So I want to ban all billboards featuring just like a man in a suit promising me something after a terrible catastrophe. But let's figure out what else we want to ban for our own amusement. Should we ban talking about your sleep? No. But then my life is just one long counseling session of listening to
People talked about their sleep.
how were you again? Wow, the whole time?
Yeah, no, I could talk about nothing but how we're all sleeping.
Stop.
No.
Fine, I can't tell if you win or lose that one. Number 2, restaurants.
That was a win.
It was a win, right. Point. Restaurant menus with pictures of food. I just figure if you have to show me something's wrong.
Yeah, it makes me.
Agreed. And lastly, talking about pickleball after your wife has already worked a full day.
Yes.
Yeah, it's well rest. Congratulations, you have gotten 11 out of 15. You have won, congratulations, this Mennonite bag of nuts. Here you go.
amazing. And we're all done. Guys, I want to thank Book Passage and Dominican. It's been so good to see you. I'd like to thank the amazing Anne Lamott for being unbelievable. We're so grateful for you guys. Thanks so much for coming. Love you the most. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Welcome to Dominican University of California. I'm Nicola Pitchford. I'm the president of the university.
I'm Daryl Page. I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees.
It's a university that's been here for 130 years, that also offers an educational experience based on the most contemporary research about how to create exceptional outcomes for students from every background in today's American demographic. Dominican students are an extraordinary group who look like California, who look like and are the future of the United States.
Our students who come from Marin, 75% of those students are people of color. 57% of those students are coming from economically disadvantaged environments, and 50% of those students are first-generation students.
And every year, Dominican provides more than $27 million in financial aid that support 99% of our undergraduate students and many of our graduate students. Our four-year graduation rates are some 30 percentage points higher than the average four-year graduation rate at Cal State campuses. That's our commitment to making this education equitable and accessible. We are Marin's only four-year university, and we're deeply committed to serving this community's needs. We're not only a significant employer, we also help our students serve their community. Our graduates are very likely to be your nurses, your healthcare providers, your children's school teachers, the entrepreneurs creating new business opportunities, the leaders in the creative arts and in civic leadership that every community depends upon. This is work that is worth investing in. Whether you are a prospective student, a family member, a community partner, or a philanthropic donor who just believes in the value of the kind of work Dominican does, you are welcome at Dominican. And if you are a graduate of Dominican, I hope you know that you are always welcome here. You will always be welcome here. You are the most precious evidence of why this university matters.